My name is Kelly. My name is Kelly Igorova. I am the Assistant Dean of Graduate Admissions here in the College of Engineering. I am joined today by Dr. Masood Salehi, who oversees our electrical and computer engineering programs, as well as Brendan Dominique, who is our graduate student ambassador for the ECE program. He's a current PhD student. He'll give a wider introduction in a moment. And my colleague Hirsch, who is a recruiting specialist within the College of Engineering. Today, you'll have an opportunity to hear from Dr. Salehi about the ECE program. We'll talk a little bit about the application process. For those of you who attended my session this morning, it may be slightly repetitive, but then Brandon will give an overview of the ambassador program, and you'll have an opportunity to hear directly from him what it's like to be a graduate student within ECE and some of the incredible opportunities that are afforded to both our master's and our PhD students. So without further ado, sorry, I should say a Q&A at the end. Without further ado, I will hand the microphone over to Dr. Salehi. I'm sorry, Masood, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry. Good morning or good day, everyone, wherever you are. And I would like to welcome you to this presentation and thank you for attending this one. Can I have the next slide, please? I'm Masood Salehi, by the way. I'm the Associate Chair for Graduate Studies at Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. And I'm here to explain, what the department is, the activities in the department, and how to join the department, and what you can expect from being a student in our graduate programs. First, a little bit about the structure of the College of Engineering, COE. College of Engineering has 5 departments, and in addition to that, it has an MS program called MGen. Today, I will focus on electrical and computer engineering, of course. The departments are electrical and computer engineering, civil and environmental engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, mechanical and industrial engineering, and bioengineering, which is the latest addition to the college. Our department is probably the largest department in the college and definitely the most active research department in the college. Can I have the next slide, please? A little bit about the graduate programs that we offer in the department. In the department, we offer 3 graduate programs: MS in Electrical and Computer Engineering, MS ECE. This program has 2 modalities of presentation, MSc, which is MS course only, and MS thesis, which requires a thesis in addition to course requirements. Then we have 2 PhD programs, PhD in Electrical Engineering and PhD in Computer Engineering. Both PhD programs are offered as BS entry or PhD advanced entry. BS entry, of course, means that the student can enter this program with a BS degree, and advanced entry is for those students who already have an MS degree. In addition to the 3 programs that are within the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, the department also offers some joint programs with other departments or institutes. MSDS is an MS in Data Science, and this was a joint program between ECE department, and from now on I use ECE for Electrical and Computer Engineering. This program, MS Data Science, is joint between our department, ECE, and the Curie College for Computer Sciences. We have also MS in Robotics, and this is a shared program between ECE and Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, and again, the Curie College of Computer Sciences. MS in Internet of Things, and this one is shared between our department and the Wireless Institute of Internet of Things. MS WINE, this is the MS in Wireless Network Engineering, again shared between the department and the Institute of Wireless Internet of Things. We have also MS in Applied Physics and Engineering. This is shared by ECE department and the Department of Physics. We have also MS ECEL, MS in Electrical and Computer Engineering Leadership. This is again joint between us and the Gordon Institute of Leadership. And in addition to that, we have MSECE plus leadership certificate. This is again a joint program between us and the Gordon Institute for Leadership. And this requires completing an MSECE and at the same time completing some other requirements as defined by the Gordon Institute. Today, I will focus on the first three programs that are electrical engineering programs, that is MSECE, PhD Electrical Engineering, and PhD Computer Engineering. The other programs have their own representatives, and you can reach out to them if you're interested in them. We're active in 3 campuses at this point: the Boston campus that offers all the 3 programs, the Seattle campus that offers the MSECE program in 2 concentration, as I will explain later, and the Oakland program that offers PhD program. All programs can be pursued as full-time and part-time, and of course, all international students have to follow the full-time option for this program. All of our courses are 4 semester hours, as explained here, and the typical course load for full-time students is 8 semester hours per semester, and for part-time students is 4 semester hours. Under certain conditions, full-time students can take more than 8 semester hours per semester. And for international students, as I explained, must be full-time registered in this program, in both programs of PhD and MS. This is basically an explanation of the same slide that you saw before. As you see, in ECE department, we have PhD in electrical engineering. This usually and typically takes 4 to 5 years to complete. PhD in computer engineering, the same. And MS in electrical and computer engineering, there are 2 tracks in it: course-only track and course thesis track. These typically take 1.5 to 2 years to complete. And that a lot depends on whether you go for the co-op option or not. Next slide, please. Okay, a little bit about our graduate program in its generality. Our program is research-oriented, and there is an intensive amount of research that is going on in our program. Our share of research activity in the department is about $48 million in annual research funding. We graduate almost 50 PhD students and about 200 MS students graduates per year. More or less, these are the numbers, but each year they can differ from these averages. Currently, we have 350 PhD and about 600 MS students in our program. In terms of faculty, we have 90 full-time faculty, which puts us in the largest departments across the USA, and 25 affiliated and adjunct faculty, 11 teaching faculty, and 12 research professors in our department. The teaching faculty are involved in teaching, and the research professors are involved mainly in research. Once in a while, they also teach courses, but our full-time faculty are active in both research and teaching. Our faculty are top-notch, and we have recently actually expanded the number of faculty. Each year, we're having some new faculty, and these are top-notch faculty across the US. 47 of our faculty are recipients of Young Investigator Awards. These are very competitive awards. And 23 of our faculty, actually this 23 is a little bit old. We have much more now, NSF Career Award recipients among our faculty. We're continually expanding our research infrastructure in different directions, and what we need are good students, talented students who can help with our research and are capable of publishing, are doing research, trying research, whether computational, analytical, and experimental research, and we're trying to get them. Next slide, please. Okay, a little bit about research funding in our department and comparison with other departments in the College of Engineering. In this pie chart on the left, as you see, the research funding of different departments in the College of Engineering are compared. And as you see, this purple part of this pie chart is the Department of Electrical Engineering. Currently, 62% of the research carried out in the college is the share of electrical engineering department. Next one, please. Okay, a lot of research in the department, but not all of it is carried on in centers, research centers that are in the department. I have listed some of them here. I will explain a little bit about them. The Gordon Center for Subsurface Sensing and Imaging is probably the oldest research center. This was funded by the NSF. Center for Awareness and Localization of Explosive-Related Threats, ALERT. This is funded by the Department of Homeland Security. Institute for Nanosystem Innovations, another one. Center for Ultra-Wide Area Resilient Electric Energy Transmission Networks. This is shared by our department and some other universities across the US. And this is also an NSF-funded center. Center for Integrative Biomedical Computing, mainly focusing on computer-brain interface, and Center for Transitional Applications of Nanoscale Multiferroic Systems, as the name suggests, focuses on magnetic materials. Institute for Information Assurance, this is shared by our department and Curie College of Computer Sciences, Institute of Experiential Robotics, and Northeastern Institute for Wireless Internet of Things that I explained. We have two programs joined with this institute, and Institute for Experiential AI. Next one, please. These are some explanation about the research activities that are going on in these centers. And as I indicated before, research activities in the department are not limited to the research that is being done by these centers. There is a lot of research going on outside this center by individual faculty and by some faculty getting together and submitting proposals and working with each other. But a lot of activities, research activities, are going in these centers. I won't spend that much time on this slide. There are small pictures that explain the type of research that is going on in different centers in the department. And again, the same thing, for other centers, you see that there's a lot of research activities in the centers that are carried out. Now, a little bit about the requirements for our programs. I start with MS-ECE, MS in Electrical and Computer Engineering, and the different concentrations that we offer in this program. Currently we offer 7 concentrations, and you select the concentration when applying for admission to the program. The concentrations are Communication Control and Signal Processing, Computer Systems and Software, Computer Vision, Machine Learning, and Algorithms, which is a very popular concentration these days, Electromagnetics, Plasma and Optics, Hardware and Software for Machine Intelligence, Microsystems, Materials and Devices, and Power Systems, Power Electronics, and Motion Control. So when you're applying to the MS program, you determine which concentration you're applying to. You also specify whether you're following the program part-time or full-time, and also whether you want to have a thesis or not, of course, only program. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll start with the requirements of the MSc, MS course only program. For completing this program, you need to take and pass 8 graduate level courses, and you have to have a GPA of 3.0 to graduate. So you take 32 semester hour of courses. Usually, if you take 2 semester hour of courses per semester, it takes 4 semesters. And these 4 semesters can include the summer semester as well. Of course, in the summer semester, fewer courses are offered, and therefore selection is more limited. From this 8 semester, from these 8 courses that you take, at least 6 courses must be in your concentration. Each concentration has a list of courses that focus on disciplines that are particular to that concentration. These are called depth courses. So you have to take at least 6 courses in your concentration of choice. The other 2 courses can be in the concentration or can be outside the concentration. Now, if your concentration is Computer Control Signal Processing, or Electromagnetics, Plasma and Optics, or MSMD, Microsystems, Materials and Devices, or Power Engineering, then you can take at most 2 courses, that is 8 semester hours, outside the department from other departments. If you are in computer networks and security, computer systems and software, computer vision, machine learning and algorithms, or hardware and software for machine intelligence, you can take at most 3 courses outside the department. And the reason that we are making this distinction between these concentrations is that in the 4 concentrations that are listed below, these are computer engineering related concentrations. And therefore, many students prefer to take courses from the Khoury College of Computer Sciences, and therefore they are allowed to take at most 3 courses outside the department. Next slide, please. Now, for the MS thesis path, essentially, again, you have to pass 32 semester hours. So you can look at it exactly like MS course only, but 2 of your concentration courses are thesis. That is 8 semester hours of thesis are required to complete this mode of the program, and therefore you have to take 6 courses from the concentration courses, 24 semester hours, and at least 4 must be in your concentration. You take 8 semester hours of thesis, therefore this 8 semester of thesis count as 2 concentration courses if you want to see that in the framework of MS course only, and you can take at most 3 courses outside the ECE department. Therefore, for this type of finishing the program, for this track, MS thesis track, regardless of your concentration, you're allowed to take 3 courses outside the department. Next slide. For PhD program, the situation is a little bit different. You know, as I told you, you can enter the PhD program with a BS degree or with an MS degree. MS degree is called advanced entry to the PhD program. For these students who already hold an MS degree, they have to take 16 semester hours or 4 semester hours to complete the course requirements for the PhD. Of course, the big part of PhD is the dissertation and the research that you're doing, but there are certain course requirements, and that's taking 4 courses after MS, because you're entering with MS in advanced entry. For BS entry students, the process is completing the requirements of an MS, that is taking 8 semester hours subject to what I told before. This can be MS thesis or MS course only, and depends on the advice that you receive from your PhD advisor. Selection of whether you do a thesis or you don't do a thesis. After completing the MS requirements for BS entry students, you become like advanced entry students. Therefore, you need 16 semester hours of 4 courses on top of the 8 courses that you have taken to complete the program. Therefore, for these students, 32 semester hours for MS and another 16 semester hours for PhD, a total of 48 semester hours of course, that is 12 courses required. Okay. So there are certain stages in the PhD program. So there are course requirements that I talked about, but there are other things that you have to do. There is a qualifying exam with certain requirements that I won't go through that you have to take. After you take the qualifying exam and pass the qualifying exam, you become a PhD candidate. Before that, you're a pre-doctoral student. You become a PhD candidate, and therefore there are certain changes that happen in your situation. You have 2 chances to pass the qualifying exam, and that's it. If you, God forbid, do not pass it in your 2 chases, in 2 tries, you have to graduate maybe with an MS degree. You have to form a PhD committee in the department. You can do it as soon as possible when you enter the program, usually 1 year after the program. And with that, you have to form your committee subject to certain constraints. And this committee helps you to sail through the PhD program and get feedback from them. So this committee is in addition to your PhD advisor, and PhD advisor is a member of this committee. Then the next stage is the proposal review. Proposal review is part of the program that comes after passing the qualifying exam. And this is at a stage where you have completed part of your research, you have a clear view of what you want to do, and you propose your proposal and defend it in a committee in your PhD committee and receive feedback from them. And after that, you continue more focused on your research based on the feedback that you have received from your committee. And finally, it is the dissertation defense, which is the hallmark of what you do here. And then you defend your dissertation, present it to the PhD committee, and after approval of them, you receive your degree. In addition to these stages, there is also annual reviews that you go through. That is starting with your second year, you will be reviewed annually. You will explain what you have done through the past year, and your PhD committee evaluates you, and based on that, decides whether you have the right to continue. So output of the annual review is either satisfactory or needs improvement or unsatisfactory. And if a student receives 2 unsatisfactory reviews, then they will be terminated from the PhD program. This is done annually by the College of Engineering. This is not done by the department. Next slide, please. Now, about the admission criteria and what we're looking in the admission. So at this point, GRE is not required. So forget about the GRE. This is a little bit old. TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo, there are certain requirements of English proficiency that is done either by taking the TOEFL exam or IELTS or Duolingo. And the requirements for that are listed on the web page. There are letters, reference letters necessary. We prefer reference letters that we receive from academic advisors. Therefore, we prefer academic reference letters, but professional reference letters are okay too. Factors that determine your success in application for admission are reputation of your BS and MS university, if you have. We know a lot of universities across the world. Therefore, if you're graduating from a reputable university, you have a higher chance of being admitted. Your GPA is important to us, so your overall GPA and also the grades that you have received in the most relevant courses that we have taken are important factors in admission. In addition to that, research activity, particularly for PhD students, is very important. Therefore, if you have published papers in conferences, journals, and if you have done certain research that you want to present, please include that in your resume and in your statement of purpose. The admission is highly competitive, and high caliber students can be admitted in the program. Oh, by the way, below the minimum requirement grades for TOEFL and IELTS and Duolingo are listed. For TOEFL 95, for IELTS 7, and for Duolingo is 115. These are the minimum English proficiency grades that are required for admission to the program. Next slide, please. Now, a little bit about PhD admission. So those were mainly for MS admission, for PhD admission. The MS admission, the main difference between MS admission and PhD admission is that MS admission is done at the college, at the department level, I'm sorry. So there is a committee that looks at your credentials and grants you admission. For PhD admission, it's not done centrally at the department side. It's done exclusively by the faculty. Therefore, what happens in the process when you apply for the PhD program, your application is circulated among the faculty. And if one of the faculty members has opening in their research group and see that your background and skills match what they need for their research, offer you admission. And all admission offers are funded for 15 semesters of study. 15 semesters of study basically means 5 full years, including summer support. Each year is 3 semesters, so 15 semesters is 5 full years. This is a very generous offer that you receive from the faculty, and you will be supported by that during your studies in the PhD program. So it is done exclusively by the faculty. It's not done by our graduate affairs committee or by myself or by anyone in the department except the faculty who wants to support you. Every PhD applicant will be reviewed by all faculty, and if there is a good match, some offer is given to the PhD applicant. And therefore, sometimes it helps if when you're applying for PhD, you go through the department webpage, you look at the expertise of the faculty and the type of research that they are doing. And if there is some research area that you are interested in, directly contact the faculty and ask for availability of opening in their research group and funding for supporting you. But anyway, if you don't do that, you will also be reviewed by all the faculty. So this step is not really necessary, but can be helpful in certain occasions. Next slide, please. Now, about financial aid, our PhD students have fellowships. This is ECE fellows and guarantees 15 semesters of support to the student. Of course, it is bound on, it is conditioned on your success in your research and progress in your research. And in addition, well, so fellowships include either assistantship in the form of RA, research assistantship, or teaching assistantship. Teaching assistantship, basically, you help the faculty with their teaching activities, supervising labs and working with students, help them, students sometimes having recitation sessions for the students. So these are the type of PhD awards. This is all our students, our PhD students, are supported by TA-ship or RA-ship. For MS students, the situation is different. Occasionally, some of our MS students receive research assistantship. Usually, this is very, very competitive and very rare. And it is done by the faculty, again, pretty much like a PhD admission. If faculty are interested in a short time, they have a short-time project and are interested in a student with certain skills that can help them with that, they will offer the MS student a research assistantship. This usually doesn't happen that often, maybe each semester, one or some semester none. But the main type of support that is available for MS students is hourly appointments or hourly course assistance, and these students receive an hourly stipend for the work that they are doing in helping the faculty. Again, this is very competitive, but some students receive that during their course of studies here. Their task usually is grading homeworks and helping the faculty with preparing material. On co-op and internship, there is the possibility of co-op and internship in the department. As you know, probably know, Northeastern is the leader at the country level, US level, in co-op education in its undergraduate. Big majority, over 90% of our students are BS students, participate in co-op, and I'm very happy with that. So we have two types of co-op and internship working outside department for our students, for our graduate students. One is internship. Internship is an option for PhD students only. And the other one is co-op, which is available to all graduate students, PhD or MS. With co-op, you go and work in an industry for a certain amount of time. It can be for 4 months or 8 months or 6 months. And it has to be related to your field of study, and you gain experience in working outside. In addition to that, you receive money that can support you. And usually it happens quite often that the students can find a job after graduation in the places that they have done their co-op. Well, I have already said that PhD students can participate in both co-op and internship. In order to do the co-op, there's certain conditions that have to be required. You have to have a minimum GPA at the university. I think you have to have a minimum GPA of 3.4. In addition to that, there is a minimum TOEFL score that you must have in order to participate in co-op. In addition to that, you have to take an introduction to co-op course and pass it before going on co-op. The details can be found on the co-op page in the College of Engineering. Next slide, please. Well, just a little bit about Boston, which environment you'll be living in. Boston is one of the largest cities and a hub for many technical companies. You know, almost all technical companies that you have, engineering companies or research companies that you have heard about, have an office in Boston, a big office in Boston, and attracting our graduates. Some of the biggest companies have their headquarters in Boston. Raytheon, for example, is one of them. Boston is the 11th largest metropolitan area in the United States, and the third largest concentration of engineers in the country after Bay Area and Texas are in Boston. Boston, for example, is the first city in the United States that had a subway, and the economy of Boston is very large. You know, the greater Boston economy is comparable to the economy of Norway, and Norway has oil, as you know. Boston is a very international city. There are a lot of people that have background in many countries all over the world living here, and they have their own organizations. It's also a very academic place. There are so many universities and colleges in the Boston area. There are 375,000 college students around in the Boston area, and they come from all over the world. So there are many activities going on in clubs related to these students. You know, the most prestigious students are in Boston area, MIT and Harvard and Northeastern and Boston University, Tufts, Brandeis University are all in Boston. And there are many seminars that are held in Boston in different areas in these universities that you can benefit from. Also, our department in Boston is a very diverse department and college. We have students from all continents around the world. We have in ECE, we have students from 25 countries, and across the Northeastern, we have students from 122 countries represented here. We have a strong presence of women in our department, and in College of Engineering, about 30% of graduate students are women. So with that introduction, I would like to close my remarks here and thank you for your attention. And at the end of these presentations, I will be ready if you have any questions. Thank you. Kelly, back to you.
Thank you so much, Masoud. That was wonderful. And with that, I would like to please introduce Brendan Dominique, who is our graduate student ambassador. Brandon, can you tell us a little bit about the ambassador program, what you all help with, what you can't help with, and your role in the ECE program?
Yep, I'd be happy to. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Gotcha, nice. What's going on, everybody? My name is Brendan Dominique. I'm a fifth-year PhD student here at the College of Engineering here at Northeastern, and I do work with computer engineering. Specifically, my research focuses on the social impact of artificial intelligence. So I look a lot into the ethics of how artificial intelligence is used in society, just as a little background about me. So I got started with my PhD in the fall of 2020. So that was right during the middle of the pandemic when I arrived in Boston. So it was a bit of a rough adjustment period, not being able to go to school in the beginning because everything was shut down. But eventually, once things started to open up in 2021 and 2022, I was able to go in, meet a lot of my lab mates, meet a lot of my classmates, and meet a lot of professors on campus. And right now, campus is very vibrant, very open. And there's a lot of cool and interesting things to do both on campus and within the city of Boston too. So I'm really enjoying my time here as a PhD student. But yeah, a little bit about me and the Graduate Student Ambassador Program. So here as an ambassador, we are here to help with a lot of your questions regarding things such as department and program specifics. So if there's any type of activities or events or happenings that are going on at Northeastern, we're happy to tell you about those. in any way that they may enrich you as a graduate student. We also provide insight about different courses at Northeastern in the College of Engineering. And we can also direct you to other people who you may need advice from. For example, if there's some issue that you might have with admissions or financial aid, we can direct you to the right person to talk to. We also give a lot of advice on the student experience at Northeastern. So a lot of advice on different student organizations, a lot of resources that the college and university provides to students. And we all have experience with co-ops on the graduate student ambassadors team, internships and co-ops. I personally myself have done 3 internships in my time at Northeastern, so I have a lot of experience to offer in that regard. We have ambassadors located at a lot of Northeastern's different campuses, not just the Boston campus. So we have some ambassadors who are at the Seattle campus, some who are at the Silicon Valley campus, for example. So we are able to give a lot of advice on things that are specific to those campuses as well. Um, yeah, so in general, we provide a lot of advice on how to take advantage of your time at Northeastern, how to make sure that it's safe and comfortable as possible and as enriching as possible. Um, the only things that we're not able to assist with are things that are usually related to decisions or statuses or funding. So that's always something to be aware of. We usually get a lot of questions related to, do you think I'm a good fit for Northeastern? These are my stats. This is my application. But that's something that we're unfortunately not able to answer specifically since we don't work with admissions. But yeah, that's a little bit about the ambassador team and what we can help with. So I'm happy to take any questions that people might have during the Q&A.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. And why did you choose the electrical engineering program?
Yeah, so in my process of applying to different schools, I think the specific reason I selected Northeastern was because of my advisor. I did a little bit, like Professor Salehi was saying, I wanted to do a little bit of research on my advisor, like as I was applying and see if they would be a good fit for me. So I had a chance to speak with them and a couple of my like current lab mates. I had a conversation with them right before I got to the school, basically. And based on the conversations that we had, the projects that were available, how supportive my advisor was as well of really taking care of her students and taking care of her lab. It seems like it'd be a really good fit for me. So I decided to choose Northeastern.
That's awesome. And you said you did 3 internships. What are the different opportunities that you had?
So they're all with the same company actually. So I was able to work with IBM over the last couple of summers.
Wow.
Um, so I was able to, so I got selected to work with IBM through a fellowship known as like the GEM Fellowship, and this fellowship is geared towards underrepresented groups in STEM and engineering. So after winning that fellowship, they paired me with IBM to work on a couple projects with them, and the pairing was supposed to last for 1 summer essentially. But I was able to do a good job on the projects that they provided to me. I was able to meet some people at IBM, so they gave me an opportunity to move to some other teams and basically extend my relationship with them past 1 summer into another 2 summers, essentially. And I'm still working with them now. Actually, I'm finishing up a research paper that from one of the projects that I was working on recently with them. Um, so yeah, it's been a great opportunity, and yeah, when I've had that chance, had I not gone to Northeastern essentially and applied for this fellowship, I had a lot of help um, just as like a quick side note, I had a lot of help writing the application for that fellowship through Northeastern's writing lab. They provided me a lot of guidance with that. So, yeah.
That was going to be my next question too, or what are some of the resources that you used? I mean, the Khan Lab is incredible. Are there any other resources that you found that are critical to grad students that you found particularly helpful?
Yeah, I think Northeastern in the PhD network in general provides a lot of social opportunities as well as professional opportunities as well. And I think, of course, as a grad student, both of those things are important. So when it comes to professional opportunities, for example, over the summer we had different writing workshops again. So I think one of them was geared towards beginning, basically planning out how to write your dissertation, for example. So that was something that was like particularly useful for me. An example of like one of the more social things is that we throw like a weekly like PhD coffee hour. So I give students a chance to meet one another and like mingle, things like that. And there's also always emails about different events that are going on geared towards graduate students and us being able to network with each other. So that's been one like really valuable resource for me.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, Brandon. I'm sure that there will be more questions as we get to the official Q&A part, but this was incredibly helpful. For anyone who has any questions for Brandon, feel free to email him directly. Brandon has been on our team now for a few years. He is not new here, and so I doubt there's anything that he hasn't heard. So feel free to contact him, and he would be happy to answer any of your questions and to help you navigate, whether you're a prospective student or an admitted master's or PhD. Other opportunities to connect with Brandon, his contact information is on our website. Our ambassadors in general are on WhatsApp, Weibo, Instagram, LinkedIn, many other social media opportunities. Brandon runs the admitted student WhatsApp group for all ECE students. And so as you prepare to come and you meet fellow master's and PhD students, everyone will be in the same group and be able to connect, find housing together, etc. He also oversees the admission page, and so, or not the admission page, the ambassador page. And so everything that you see, all the content there, is generated by our ambassadors, and Brandon curates it in a beautiful way. So we hope that you find that super helpful. And then, of course, you can send him and others an email at coeambassadors@northeastern.edu. And as Brandon mentioned, there's so many opportunities to get involved. The Comm Lab, the PhD Network are two examples, but in addition, there's over 35 different clubs and organizations within the Graduate School of Engineering that our master's and our PhD students join. These are just a few examples, but I encourage you to get involved. In addition, as a student within the electrical and computer engineering program, I want to go back and talk about the research centers that Dr. Salehi spoke about, which are so important, an opportunity to truly gain valuable experience within cutting edge research, whether it is research that is within the university, across multiple universities. Some is funded by the government, and so you'd have an incredible opportunity to work with the DoD. Some is NSF, NIH, all kinds of different sponsored research that's taking place. And so the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering really gives you a full body opportunity to immerse yourself within graduate life and to go far beyond your academics through co-ops, through research, through professional societies and engagements, student support, grad student support, etc. We have our co-op coordinators who are here to help you to map all of your co-ops, whether you're interested in 4, 6, or 8 months. The Office of Global Services for international students, our incredible team of student services advisors who will help map all of your courses depending on what concentration you're in. Global Student Success Office, in addition to our Comm Lab, which is specific to engineering and helps students to prepare, whether it is writing a proposal for an internship or a grant or a published paper in a peer-reviewed journal. Definitely engage with Tracy Carter and her team at the Comm Lab. And then the Career Design and Employer Engagement Center as you prepare for your next step after graduation. All right, let's talk a little bit, and I apologize for those that were on this morning's session. I'll go through this quickly. It's probably repetitive for most of you, but there's still time to apply for the spring 2025. All international students within the United States can apply through October 1. Domestic students can apply through December 1. I'm sorry, international students outside of the United States can apply through October 1. Domestic and international in the US can apply through December 1 for spring start. If you are interested in a PhD program, you have a priority deadline of December 1, although we'll continue to accept PhD applications after that. The majority of our PhD applications and decisions are made after the December 1 deadline. Then we have our priority MS deadline of January 15th, but students can continue to apply all the way through July 1st. Or June 1, depending on what bucket you fall into, and if you're domestic, through August 1st. We will offer an application fee waiver code today. We do not require the GRE, although if you do apply with an unofficial GRE, you need to also provide your official GREs, and we accept the IELTS, the TOEFL, or the Duolingo. And just a reminder, that the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering do have a higher threshold for our English language scores, so please make sure that you are mindful of that when you apply. Please take a screenshot here if you're interested in applying using the fee waiver code. I apologize if you've already applied, we cannot go back and refund your application fee. But for those of you who have not yet applied and are interested in doing so, you may take a screenshot and make sure that you enter the code exactly as is. It is case sensitive. A few little tips and tricks from us. We do have rolling admissions if your file is complete. If you're an international student, please make sure that you have provided all of the necessary transcript documents in order to complete your foreign credential evaluation. Otherwise, your application will not make it to the desk of a faculty member for review. We encourage you to apply to more than one program. As Dr. Salehi mentioned, the Electrical and Computer Engineering program is extremely competitive. Therefore, consider submitting an application to a secondary program of interest and any other programs that may align with your background. Build your world and get excited for grad school. So as you prepare for the Electrical and Computer Engineering program, please do engage with Brandon, get to know what the department is like, familiarize yourself with the research opportunities, and attend one of our upcoming future events that we have. Dr. Salehi and Brandon will be on our Wonder Week sessions, which we will host very similar to this session. And there will be other research-specific events and other opportunities to engage with members of our admissions team, as well as the department. And keep in touch with us. Here's our contact information. A member of the admission team would love to hear from you. You can email Brandon at this email here and he'll get right back to you as soon as he can. Please remember when you are engaging with our ambassadors that they are students. They are students first, which means that if they have a paper due or a project that they're working on, that does need to take priority. And so here within the College of Engineering, it is always academics first. We ask our ambassadors to engage with prospective and admitted students on a regular basis. But if they are slow to respond, please know they also have a huge volume of students engaging with them. And Brandon is in his lab, he's at his internship, he is out doing his research. And so please be patient and know his priority is as a PhD student. All right, and with that, I will open the floor up to a Q&A. Okay. Dr. Salehi, could you talk a little bit about the different tracks that students can pursue as a master's? So there's course, project, and thesis. Can you talk a little bit about the difference and which you would recommend depending on a student's interest post-grad?
Sure. As I told you, there are basically two tracks in the department, MS course only and MS thesis. The MS course only students have also the option of doing a project as one of their courses. Well, a lot depends on the interest of the students. If they are interested in doing research, and particularly if they feel that this research can be the first step towards their PhD program, I advise them to apply for the MS thesis program. MS course only is a much more straightforward path to getting your MS degree. Just 8 courses and you graduate, where MS with thesis requires 2 semesters of working on a thesis project. Occasionally, it happens that a project is not finished in 2 semesters and you have to go for a 3rd semester. Therefore, there's a lot of research going on. Of course, research is not a linear model like courses. You know, sometimes your research goes very fast and you can do your research very fast and you get your degree. Sometimes there are impediments in doing your research and you have to wait a little bit, you work a little bit of tries to get your final result. You have to collect data, for example, you have to set up your experiment. Sometimes this experiment doesn't work in your first time and you have to do iterations on that. Therefore, if you're interested more in doing research and probably you're considering to go for PhD, I would recommend that you apply for MS thesis. But if you want to graduate with a degree very quickly and very predictably, you go for the course-only program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And let's talk a little bit about applying to the PhD program and best practices. I know that our faculty receive a lot of emails from prospective students. So curious to hear from both of you. Brandon, your experience in applying and engaging with faculty throughout the process. And Dr. Salehi, I think let's start with you on sort of best practices in finding a faculty member and then engaging with them and how they want to be engaged with.
Sure. Yeah, first, and before starting, I want to assure you once more that all applications will be reviewed by all our faculty. Therefore, contacting with faculty is not a necessary step, but is a helpful step that you can engage. I would recommend, if you want to do that, go first on the website of the department. There is information about the research activities that they are interested in, projects that they are doing right now, and look into the projects and see if they matches your background or interest. And if you feel that you're interested in those projects, if you feel that you're well equipped to follow those projects, participate in those projects, and contribute to the progress of those projects, reach out to the faculty. When you're reaching to a faculty, there are two cases that can happen. Even faculties who are very research active and have large research groups, might not have funding. So don't get disappointed. It doesn't mean that your qualities are low or do not match the standards of the department. It basically means that that faculty does not have funding at that time. There is no opening in their research group. And try other faculties that are, again, match your interests and send an email to them. Sometimes you don't receive a response from them. Again, it means that either they're too busy or they don't have opening, or at that time they feel that the projects that they have open and working on does not match your qualifications or your background here. So sending an email to faculty is helpful, but is not required at all. And if you don't receive a response from them, don't get disappointed. Be sure that all applications that we receive are reviewed by the faculty. So that step is a little bit helpful, but not necessary.
Wonderful. And Brandon, how about you? What are some advice you can give to students, whether they're applying to an MS or a PhD?
Yeah, I think I kind of touched upon some of these things already in my introduction, but the two main pieces of advice that I would give would be to, when you're writing your application, whether it be your purpose statement or another piece of writing, try to get as much peer review as you can with those. There's a certain formula to writing usually your purpose statement. So that's something that I needed a little bit of guidance on when I was applying to graduate school. And like I mentioned, when I was applying for the fellowship that took me to IBM, I needed a bit of guidance with my writing because it wasn't in the correct formula for really standing out and having a chance of being selected. So that would be my first piece of advice. And then, like Professor Salehi was saying, he covered a lot of what I want to make with the second point. But I also think that when you're reaching out to professors, it may also be a good idea to reach out to some of the more senior students in their lab, just because the professors are usually pretty busy, and the senior students you may have a better chance of having a conversation with them, and you can still get a very good sense of what the lab is all about, basically, by speaking to the senior students. So that may be another option to try as well.
Wonderful, thank you. And for those of you who are local to the Boston area, our ambassador team does host tours, and so you may have an opportunity to meet Brandon in person, to come around and see some of our incredible facilities. In addition, Dr. Salehi, the department is expanding across the global campus network. Can you talk a little bit about some of the expansion that we're seeing and opportunities in our West Coast?
Yes, of course. The department is, as you said, the university is expanding across the globe, and we are becoming more and more active in this expansion. We have already participating in two campuses. The Seattle campus, we're offering an MS program in the Seattle campus in two concentrations. These are computer vision, machine learning, and algorithms, as well as hardware and software for machine intelligence. We also offer PhD program in Auckland. We have started this year. And the area that we are focusing on in Auckland is materials and microsystems, materials and devices, electronics, basically, or development of chips in the Bay Area, Auckland. We're considering opening the concentration of computer systems and software in Seattle, and we're taking the first steps toward that. And we're also considering other campuses, opening other campuses across the United States.
Wonderful. And as we mentioned in the session this morning, is that the students who are studying in Seattle versus Boston, they are very different campuses. And so just be mindful of that. And it really depends on what you're looking for. So a student who is looking for an opportunity to have a very close relationship with faculty, the faculty that are in Seattle. It is a smaller cohort, and so there's more one-on-one contact. It's also an opportunity to extend your campus. You're not just at Northeastern, the entire city of Seattle is your campus. And I think that is one of the most beautiful benefits of being in Seattle. And then Boston is more of a traditional academic environment, but you are in a humongous program and a humongous campus. So depending on what you're looking for, the type of student that you are and how you want to learn would determine which campus you should apply to. And with that, we are at the top of the hour, and I know that students have other programs, sessions to go to. So I want to thank you both, Dr. Salehi and Brandon, for being here today, and invite everyone else to connect with a member of the admissions team and to enjoy the rest of the open house session. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.